younger.
Get rid of those unsightly wrinkles.
The most unforgettable women in the world.
Don't hate me because I'm beautiful.
Maybe she's born with it.
Be beautiful.
Young is beautiful. No one wants wrinkles. No one wants wrinkles. Great skin can be created.
Beauty is inevitable.
Reflections of perfection. Kiss your lips.
Beauty is power.
Dress your lips. Feel pretty.
Young is beautiful. No one wants wrinkles. Beauty.
Say that again, because that's like real stuff.
I'm like, we live in a filtered world. So you go on social media and you're scrolling and you're seeing these faces that you don't know what's real and what's not. It's like the Instagram versus reality thing. It's like everyone's filtered. And what does real skin look like? You know, you see these perfect faces, but real skin has pores. Real skin has blemishes. Real skin might have a hair sticking out of your chin. Who knows? Your hair. Kim Kardashian look and like what does like a flawless skin look like, and that's not reality.
I don't know why I decided to make this movie. I don't understand much about being beautiful. I wear a ball cap every day. I have loads of gray hair. I have more wrinkles than I can even count. I'm not a spokesperson for anything remotely nearing beauty. I can't remember the last time I fixated on how I look in the mirror. I don't pay attention to much. I have a comb and a toothbrush in my drawer in our home, and that's about it. Let's just say that beauty isn't really a topic I've had much interest in. So making a movie about it wasn't at the top of my list of things to try. But I found myself captured by the story because there's a lot about it that is troubling. When I first discovered that there was a conversation about medical injections for wrinkles and aging, I didn't really understand why people felt the need to do it. What I understood of it was funny-looking faces with duck lips and frozen facial expressions. It wasn't beautiful to me at all. In fact, it was a meme. I was brought into this story, though, because I have found that there are real conflicts of interest in nearly all medical interventions, and I think it has done tremendous damage to the trust that these institutions are built on. I want that to change. I want trust to come back to our medical institutions and to their solutions. I want to shine a light on the places where money overcomes honesty. So the more I dug into this topic of cosmetic injections, the more I realized that this is one place that needs a lot of sunshine. There are natural inclinations in the minds of people to be beautiful. It's anthropological. But in our strange confluence of mercantile capitalism and predatory marketing, cosmetic solutions that seem simple and easy are a fertile ground for things that build perverse incentives with the medical and pharmacological industries. So I'm going to take you on the same journey I went on. You're going to hear from people who have been on the wrong side of this mercantile game, on the dark side of beauty. I'm not out to vilify people for making money or to see the drug and its uses eliminated. I'm interested in opening the books about it, though. I want people who watch this to understand that there are no fast and easy ways to look beautiful. I hope you wrestle with the same things I have as I made this film. I want you to see the pressures that people face to stay young. I want you to think about why it is that people, despite the risks, take the chance to look young again. I want you to focus on the messages we send, especially to young women, about who they are and what our culture says is beautiful. I want you to understand the risks of a drug that has side effects and what kind of damage it can leave behind for the people who are impacted by it. Beauty. It has been said that it is in the eye of the beholder, but for American culture, that maxim seems to rarely prove true. For millions of people, there is a relentless dismantling of what is beautiful. The cosmetic and fashion industry is a multi-billion-dollar enterprise that leverages the self-perception of people and preys upon that weakness.
You're too old.
You aren't skinny enough.
Your wrinkles are showing. Your breasts are too small.
Your tummy needs a tuck.
What are you doing about your cellulite?
You already have gray hair?
Each new trend in fashion seems to have a corresponding product for sale. The industry sells the illusion that you can look forever young and beautiful. They spend incredible amounts of money on advertising and influencers in an attempt to persuade the population that they are inadequate in their appearances. No group is more susceptible to these marketing advances than women. In 2024, nearly $425 billion was spent in the United States alone on cosmetics. And the group the cosmetic makers pursued the most? women aged 18 to 34. Influencers, advertisers, social media generated content all seek to sell their products with the same general message. You are not beautiful unless you use our product. It's a strange psychological phenomenon that seems to be left over from earlier cultures of humanity, in which the anthropological desire for survival seems to motivate the drive for women to pursue looking beautiful. To be sure, for women in their primary reproductive ages, beauty has an empirical outcome. Cross-cultural studies show men universally prioritize physical attractiveness in mates more than women do. And men find certain things clear indicators of a woman's ability to sustain the species. Clear skin, symmetrical features, low waist-to-hip ratio, lustrous hair, all correlate with reproductive health. Women's pursuit of beauty is psychologically rational. It's a high-return strategy for mate attraction, social capital, and self-esteem, rooted in evolved sex differences and amplified by culture. The pressures are real for a woman, but so are the payoffs. In the American culture, however, that payoff has come at an almost immeasurable cost. Casual sex, transient marriage relationships where divorce is as plausible as staying together, obsessions with body image and figure all play into the mind of the American female. Finding a mate in the 21st century is far more complicated than it was in any other time in history. Add to it that there is a sense of instability even after marriage, and women spend a massive amount of energy and time trying to be beautiful. And while this pursuit of being beautiful isn't exclusively a female phenomenon, the fairer sex has taken the brunt of the psychological pressures that culture has placed upon them. In the 1970s, as women moved into the workplace, the busyness of raising children, keeping house, and a 40-hour work week helped add emphasis on quick solutions for beauty. Faster ways to do makeup, on-the-go containers for beauty products, and pocket mirrors all were sold by the cosmetic manufacturers as a way to help women feel assured they could have it all: work, feminism, and beauty. Along the way, pharmaceutical companies saw a way to get in on the beauty craze and began to offer diet pills and age-defying products as medical interventions to help arrest the aging process. Most of what was sold in both the cosmetic and pharmaceuticals contained toxins and damaging elements, but for the working woman, the risk was worth it. Social pressures to conform to beauty standards helped women look the other way from harm, despite the side effects that came with these toxic products. The obsession to look beautiful overcame nearly all reason. The pressures to attract and keep a mate were too great, and so most let their guards down. As in most corporate endeavors of mass adoption, once the manufacturers cross the line from danger to perceived safety, the money printing machine ramps up full throttle.
Relook, rethink, reimagine. Because right here, right now, it's time to take a closer look at Botox Cosmetic, the only FDA-approved treatment for the temporary improvement of both moderate to severe frown lines and crow's feet. See what real results can really look like and make it part of what you do. For you.
In 2002, Allergan introduced a new cosmetic product to the market for the reduction of wrinkles. A new drug that could be administered quickly to help arrest the aging process for a woman. Suddenly, a small injection of botulinum toxin A in a woman's crow's feet by the side of her eyes, or the lines in her forehead, could stop the wrinkles. They could look younger with a very easy set of injections. It seemed to be a miracle. Aging was finally a thing of the past. If I'm honest, I don't understand the obsessions with beauty. In 24 years of marriage, I have never looked at my wife and wondered why she has wrinkles or her hair is changing. I have laughed at her seemingly large warehouse full of products that overwhelm our bathroom, but I have never thought about any of her imperfections. I've just always thought of myself as lucky to have her remotely interested in me. I can't think of a time I have ever looked at her and wondered about any changes that have come to her features. But I know she has. Late-night YouTube videos about hair colors and skin fixes are a staple of her search history. She sees herself much differently than I do, and I suspect most women feel the same about themselves. The culture bombards them with the messaging of inadequacy, and they believe it. It's a recipe for the worst elements of capitalism, especially the mercantilist version that's captured America. When there's a perfect confluence of fear and simple solutions, no one occupies the space faster and with more ruthlessness than the medical and pharmaceutical industries. Profits are usually staggering. A few months ago, I had written an article about the battles in Washington and the new Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s accomplishments at arresting some of the more egregious cronyism in the medical industry. As I read through the comments, one stood out to me that piqued my curiosity. You should see if he'll look into Botox injuries and the cosmetic industry's ignoring of those who are harmed. That's an odd comment, I thought. After all, he has a lot of fish to fry in that lousy town, and elective cosmetics isn't probably one of them. But I couldn't help but wonder if there wasn't more to the story. I'm usually skeptical about medical interventions, especially when it comes to elective choices, so I wanted to find out more about what Botox really is. Are all the promises and miracles that are advertised really true, or is there more to the story than we might otherwise be being told? General research didn't turn up much. Most of the top results on any search engine were for plastic surgeons or med spas, and almost every story or article was a positive spin on the drugs. There were genuine medical uses that seemed to be relieved or cured by the use of the toxin, and side effects were generally downplayed or outright dismissed. Medically speaking, botulinum toxin has been used as a treatment for more severe muscle spasming since the late 70s. The protein was first used as a therapeutic in 1978 when Dr. Alan Scott administered the initial human injection to treat eye muscle issues following retinal detachment surgery. This marked the beginning of its medical applications, primarily for conditions like misaligned eyes and uncontrollable eyelid twitching. But I was curious how it had crossed over into the cosmetic world, and if the product was really as safe as everyone was claiming. I was given the name and contact information of Dr. Brenda Ann Wilson, a PhD from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, who I was told was an expert about Botox. After a few emails, she was willing to sit down with me to discuss how this drug actually works.
Well, Botox actually stands for botulinum neurotoxin. It is a protein, pretty large one, that is made by the bacterium called Clostridium botulinum. It is a commercial product, is a very purified protein. But where you oftentimes, and I think a lot of folks might have encountered it before, is actually in food poisoning, that's called botulism. Where you have symptoms of paralysis. But the commercial product, which is called Botox, it is a purified protein that they use to oftentimes commercially as a cosmetic, but it can also have a lot of medical applications. And so it's widely used for smoothing out wrinkles and lines and facial, especially in the face, to make you look younger, if you will. But in medical conditions, it also has a lot of applications, and those applications are actually growing. So it's used to treat chronic migraines, severe underarm sweating, muscle spasms. That was actually its original use, was cross eyes, and facial tics and things like that, uncontrolled blinking, other types of movement disorders, and there's new applications being used for wound healing. But in what everybody hears Botox, they think about the wrinkles and making you look younger and things, and that's where I would say a lot of its applications right now are being, that you see.
So one of the things that we're kind of exploring in this particular deal is that, there have been people that have suffered injury from it. Why does that happen?
Because it binds very tightly to where it's at, but occasionally it gets loose. And when it gets loose, it can cause effects. Now, the key about the botulinum neurotoxin is it doesn't kill the nerve. But what will happen is that new dendrites, new places for the nerve to interface or interact with the muscle cells or muscles nearby, will actually form. And so if that toxin that was in a complex gets loose and it goes to other places, it can now have a different effect, and it can it can spread, or it can just come back to the same area and just redo and cause, again, the paralysis effects. And of course, if that happens, that changes the outcome in the muscles that you're seeing. So you're going to sometimes get these long-term, if it's an adverse event, you can have a long-term phenomena where it keeps recurring. And that's part of the challenge here for these long-term effects that some women and some individuals might find that they say, well, it's been years later and I have a periodic, recurrence of something. And I'm not surprised that can happen, because you're not killing the nerve cell. The nerve cell is still there, and it will hang out and stay there, in a relatively stable complex inside before it, has a chance to get out again.
Dr. Wilson described what I suspected. The medical intervention can have a tremendous set of benefits, but it does often come with the possibility of side effects. A typical pharmaceutical product will always have both sides of the same coin. There was nothing new here to see. And according to Dr. Wilson, good practitioners explain the risks to a patient, and in most cases, people then have the option to weigh the potential side effects against the benefits and make an informed decision. But something she said bothered me.
Well, they need to be aware of those side effects. They need to actually do some history, look things up, find out what other things are out there, because when you're doing this for commercial reasons, for like cosmetics, oftentimes the person who is offering this service is more mindful of the profit that they get rather than actually concerns of their patient, which is unfortunate. I mean, it doesn't happen always, but I think that someone going into it fully cognizant of what's going on, a well-informed decision, I think needs to be made when you go for this sort of treatment.
I've spent enough time watching how the perverse incentives of money in medicine often conflict with the betterment of the patients, so her description of the money incentives furthered my curiosity. Could the negative side effects that Dr. Wilson spoke of be attributed simply to the inexperienced clinicians? Were they untrained in making mistakes? Could it be that in these spas and treatment centers, the patients were not being fully educated on what the substance is? Surely the women who were headed into the local spa for the treatments were being given all the information about the drug before it was administered. In our conversation, I asked Dr. Wilson if she would ever use Botox cosmetically.
For cosmetic reasons, I think you have to really think about, do you really need to get rid of these wrinkles? I personally, my own opinion is, I have wrinkles. I'm not going to use Botox. I work with Botox. I know Botox really well, and I can say that no, I am never going to get Botox unless I absolutely have to, because I personally think that the cosmetic benefit that I get out of it is just not worth it.
Dr. Wilson's own admission that she would never use the drug and her descriptions of the side effects made me wonder, were there stories of side effects out there? Do the people receiving the treatment really understand what it is that's going into their bodies? Were the businesses doing the administering fully informing their patients and receiving their consent? Even I know that Botox is short for botulinum toxin, so why would people still be racing to their local neighborhood injector, subjecting themselves to these massive risks? I dug a little deeper looking for an answer. I tuned into social media to find out more and see if there were any alternative stories to the ones manufactured by those who stood to profit from the drugs. Those doom scroll apps are a dark trap. As I started to understand more about the world of Botox and cosmetic treatments, I realized that the pressures to look beautiful far outweighed the risks of the drug. Most of the people on social media spoke about Botox as a miracle, how it made looking younger possible, and that it was a safe product to use. The barrage of beautiful faces and tight skin was overwhelming. I haven't once paid attention to my crow's feet or 11 lines, but Instagram made sure I felt inadequate about them after just a few short sessions of scrolling. The pressure that these women were putting on others through their performances for the selfie camera were overwhelming and heartbreaking. Their adoration of Botox was also creepy. It was an endless parade of faces and claims about how it was a miracle drug and how everyone should try it, how it was easy and fast, safe and effective. No 3 words raise my skepticism faster than safe and effective. In the human experience, no product is fully safe or fully effective for all people. That made me more inquisitive about who was out there in the world that had been on the wrong side of this drug. Surely there were people who had suffered reactions to one of the most lethal toxins on the planet. But a Google search again returned very few results, and only in the most secluded corners of social media or the internet could I find anyone who had been harmed by this drug. Side effects were rare or undiagnosed. There were a few vocal complaints that would surface from time to time on Instagram, but for the most part, Botox looked to be the miracle it was promised to be. The overwhelming reality was that despite the fact that many women know that this treatment is actually the lethal toxin botulism, many of them proceed anyway. Most people in the United States and other Western countries believe that if a drug has been approved by a government, then it's safe. That the FDA or other regulatory agencies are a safeguard against profiteers and corporate interests. So millions of women choose these injections every day in the pursuit of beauty, believing that there has been adequate testing and evidence to support the drug's claims of safety. But one afternoon, an account caught my attention. They messaged me directly and said that they had been injured by Botox and that they wanted to speak with me about it. She told me her life had been turned upside down by what had happened at her local clinic. She told me there were thousands of people who had a similar story, that if she had known what she knows now, she would never have used it. She spoke of the cosmetic system and how it trains the people who utilize Botox as a product for their customers that the drug is nearly infallible. She told me about how Botox is the symbol for her about the industrialization and commoditization of medicine. She also spoke of the tremendous profit incentives behind these injections and how it naturally causes doctors and practitioners to guard against the full disclosure of their possible harms. The signs were the same as other profit-driven medical interventions that I had grown suspicious of in the past, and the inevitable gaslighting and cover-up was real to the people who found themselves in harm's way. In the fall of 2025, I had the opportunity to meet up with a few of these online social media voices who heard I was interested in the side effects and subsequent silencing. I flew to Sacramento with my camera and had the opportunity to hear from a small sample of women whose lives have been changed forever by this supposedly safe and effective treatment for beauty.
Powder in my nose. Meg, take one.
I'll start with my.
Yeah, let's do your statement.
My name's Megan, and I was injured by cosmetic injections on July 9th, 2024.
Okay, so this is Stephanie, take one.
Hi, my name is Stephanie, and I was injured by cosmetic injections on March 9th of 2023.
Okay, this is Lauren, take one.
Hi, my name's Lauren, and I was injured by Botox on June 20th, 2020.
Okay, rolling. Okay, this is Valerie, take one.
Hi, my name is Valeria, and I got injured by cosmetic injections in July 23rd of 2024.
But once I found that out and I saw that my friends were doing it, I thought, oh my gosh, of course this stuff is safe, it's normal, everyone's doing it. I'm gonna be fine if I try a very tiny amount, which is what I did on July 9th of last year of 2024. I went in and I said, okay, I'm finally ready to try a little bit of Botox. I told the doctor that I wanted the smallest amount that she had ever given anyone. I just wanted it right here in my crow's feet. And I ended up getting 6 units on either side, so a total of 12 units, which is a pretty small amount. It's probably about a third of what most people get when they get Botox cosmetically. I remember she came and injected me on the left side, and it felt normal. It felt like a little prick, nothing out of the ordinary. When she came over to the right side of my face, I felt immediately different. Like it hurt. First of all, the injection hurt more than it did on this side. And I just remember sitting there in the chair and the room, it wasn't spinning, but I couldn't concentrate on anything. Like my eyes I couldn't focus on anything. And then I started feeling a lot of head pressure and pain. And I said, whoa. I actually was sitting there and I said to her, whoa, I don't feel right. What's going on? You know, and she just she was flustered. You could tell that she didn't hear that a lot, and she She said, no, you're probably fine. You know, you're a little bit anxious and you're fine. So I said, okay, you know, this is my first time getting Botox, so I don't know what to expect. So I'm just sitting there kind of trying to deal with these sensations and thinking like, Megan, you're fine, you're fine. Just go home and you'll be okay. Well, I was supposed to work that day, and I did go and see one patient. And the whole time I was there, I began having heart palpitations and like a feeling of extreme anxiety. Anxiety that I had never felt before in my life. I tell people I'm a mom. I have 3 young kids. Like, I've had mental anxiety here and there. You worry about your kids and all the things that come along with that. But I had never felt physically anxious to the point where I was having trouble even, concentrating on the session, talking with my patient. My body was telling me, we need to get out of here and go home. And so that's what I did. I called off sick from work. I left her house, and the drive home, I just was having a lot of trouble concentrating. And I got home and just started experiencing more and more symptoms. So I began becoming dizzy. I became nauseous. I was laying on the couch. My mom was watching my 10-month-old, and I told her, I feel awful. I feel so sick, like I'm coming down with COVID. Brain fog, fatigue, all of these symptoms just started piling in just within a couple hours after my injections. So at that point, I called the doctor back and I said, I feel awful. I feel like I have the flu or COVID. Is this normal? What's going on? She again wrote me off, said, you're very anxious. Don't worry about it. Just drink some tea on your couch. I'll never forget, that's what she told me to do, was sit on your couch and drink some tea. And, I just believed her because I thought, the thing is, no one wants to think that they're having an adverse reaction to a botulinum toxin injection. That is a very scary thought. So I wanted desperately to believe the doctor. And I did. I convinced myself that she was right. But within days, it was obvious that something was wrong.
I graduated from medical school, and I have really good friends in Mexico that would do that for me. So she was a very good friend of mine that would do the injections for me. And I went to her. She did the regular injections like as normal. And everything was okay. I went home, and the next day I started feeling dizzy. I went back to her and actually told her like, hey, I still have 1 wrinkle here, so you can do a little bit more of Botox there. So that's when she did like a few more units there, and the next day I had full-blown botulism symptoms and started like extreme dizziness. I actually felt like the toxin going to my bloodstream. I don't know how to explain it, but my heart started beating really fast. I thought that it was gonna explode. I couldn't think. I was just like on the wreck. Like, I started spiraling really bad. I called my husband and I told him like, I don't know what's going on, but I feel like if literally I'm dying. I don't know if I should go to hospital or what to do. It's not what's happening. Like, they don't want to know about it. Honestly, what I've seen on the medical field is like a lot of rejection and gaslight. Like, they don't really care. They just want to continue their business and continue making a lot of money and being able to sleep at nights.
And if they don't know, then
they don't have to worry about it. Yeah, they can sleep right and tight.
Tell me a little bit about just, you've gone through this experience now. You're seeming to be better than you were. What would you do? I mean, would you do it again?
Never. I would never recommend anybody to get Botox. Honestly, I believe that it's the worst mistake that I've ever made. The list of my symptoms, it's huge. Like, the neurological problems are just the worst. So I think with botulism, everybody's getting different symptoms, and it's very difficult to pinpoint that it's botulism. But from all the patients that I've seen and other patients that I've listened to their stories, like I believe that I had moderate to severe kind of symptoms, and I don't know why I've been able to function at this point. Even though I'm 13 months out, I'm still struggling a lot with so many symptoms, and people would probably think that you look perfectly fine. You're talking and telling your experience, you don't look sick. But in reality, is that inside what I'm feeling, it's very difficult to explain, but it's horrifying. I'm still struggling with most of it neurological symptoms. I have brain fog, I have brain shocks at night that don't let me sleep. It's like a mini seizure, I guess. I don't know, I'm having like seizures, and my muscles will just, I don't know, jump at night. It's horrible. But my family was very supporting during all this time, and obviously not happy on seeing how the medical around, all the people around on the medical field were reacting, because they really, most of them don't know, and the ones that I think they do, they don't want to accept, because they want to continue doing it. Like, they're the ones that are getting paid, you know, from these companies to continue.
Tell me what happened.
Yeah, so I decided that I wanted to go get Botox. I was 33 years old at the time and starting to get wrinkles. And so I thought, you know, everyone else is doing it, so why not me? And I went to a med spa type facility in my town, but I did my quote unquote research, I guess, about the doctor that I went to, and he was actually a board certified doctor. I believe he was an internal medicine doctor, and so I trusted who I was going to because he had been doing this for 25 years. And I get to the facility, I sign some paperwork in the office, and then I go to sit down in my chair, I guess. I was never shown the black box warning at all. I did sign, like I said, I signed an iPad with I asked for my paperwork later. It was a very, very short, brief paragraph of side effects. And when I sat down in the chair, I even point blank to the doctor, asked him, what are the side effects that I should be looking out for that could happen to me? And, you know, he told me headaches were gonna be normal when the toxin sets in, and other side effects could be ptosis or ptosis when your eyelid droops. So these were the only side effects he told me to look out for. I was a healthy individual. I had no underlying conditions. I actually had just finished running a half marathon, and I was doing all this working out. And so I was quite literally in the best shape of my life when I went to go get these injections, and I was healthy. And I ended up getting 36 units of the brand Xeomin, and I got this across my forehead, my crow's feet, and I guess the 11 lines. And I had no immediate side effects, so I went home and I was ready to let the tox, I guess, set in. They say it takes 1 to 2 weeks to set in. So I was ready to see my new wrinkle-free face. I did not have immediate side effects, but within 24 to 48 hours, I started getting really bad headaches, like migraine status. But he did tell me that headaches were normal, like the toxin setting in, your muscles are becoming paralyzed on your face. So I just thought headaches are normal. I didn't think to call their office. And then what happened over the next 1 to 2 weeks, and it was actually day 17 where my body fully broke down, so it was about 2.5 weeks. But over the next 1 to 2 weeks, I started more of a flu sickness, like I was coming down with some sort of sickness. And then I started feeling weakness and heaviness through my extremities, through my arms and legs. And again, I did have a 2-year-old daughter at the time, so I thought maybe she brought home a little virus from school, maybe I'm getting sick, because it kind of felt like a flu or something at first. And then it just kept getting worse day by day by day by day. And then again, I didn't make the association that this was the Botox because he didn't tell me that these side effects could happen. And I really, quite frankly, I never heard of that before. So I'm not even making the association right now that the toxin could spread through my body this way. So it was on day 17 that, and I vividly remember this day because I have my run data for this day. So I've been an avid runner my whole life. And like I said, I had this muscle weakness progressing day by day. And you probably would think I'm crazy, like why would I go out for a run if I'm like feeling so weak? But you know, I'm one of those crazy runners that like you kind of just wanted to like shake it out. So I was like, oh, maybe I can go for a shakeout run. So I go to my local trail, I try to run and I cannot, like my legs locked up, my tendons and my throughout like spanning like my calf and my quad and stuff and my hamstring just felt like they were like stretched beyond belief, and I could not reach down and like touch my toes. Like I kept trying to stop and stretch and stop and stretch, but I was just having the weirdest body-wide symptoms where my body felt really weak and like jelly-like, but at the same time I also felt like stiff and like sore, and I just could not run. I have my run data from that day. It was like a total of a quarter mile because I walked out and walked back and I couldn't do it. And I just like, I started crying. I called my sister and I got in my car and like drove home, and I was like, something has happened to me. Something happened to me.
Okay, Lauren?
Yes.
Okay, this is Lauren, take one.
Yeah, so it was my first time getting Botox. I had some 11 lines. I was like 35, I think, 34 at the time. I went to a trusted injector and I got 33 units in a doctor's office, and he had been injecting for 10 years. The first injection, I felt it go into my head. I felt it travel down the side of my face, down into my neck, down into my arm, back up my arm and into my lung. And I thought, oh, that was weird. And I didn't say anything. And then I got back in my car and I got on the freeway. And as soon as I was driving on the freeway, I started to just feel like massive amount of anxiety. My chest started to squeeze in, and I started to feel pins and needles in my hands and legs and the top of my head. And then that feeling grew and grew and grew. And I pulled over on the side of the freeway, called 911. My hands were snapped up like this. I couldn't use my hands, and my feet were, and contorted, and my tongue was fully constricted and I couldn't speak. And so calling 911 it was hard to tell them what was happening because I couldn't really speak. So within, maybe 8 to 10 minutes of leaving the office, I was in an ambulance into the ER. So that's what happened.
It's just how the toxin works, but I didn't understand at the time, but what was happening was that my body was becoming paralyzed from head to toe. They call it descending paralysis, which is a classic sign of botulism. But your body can still move and do things, but it's at the expense of any adjacent thing. So your joints, your bones, your skin, your tendons, everything takes impact because the muscles aren't doing the correct job. So I called myself like a jelly skeleton during that time. Then I started getting new symptoms. I had heart issues, so I had heart palpitations. I was going to a cardiologist. I had an abnormal EKG, so I was having heart issues all of a sudden. The weirdest thing that happened too was that I got this nerve pain through my my torso area and through my arms. It felt like I just woke up one day and it felt like I had a million paper cuts all over my body, and it almost felt like my first layer of skin was removed and that my nerves were exposed or something. That lasted I'm 2.5 years later, and my arms they're getting better, but they still have this nerve pain through them. I couldn't wear tight clothes, and even brushing my arm against things was difficult. I couldn't wash my hands with a towel or wash my face or anything. It was just excruciating nerve pain. I had paralyzed digestion and paralyzed urinary systems, so I was having difficulty going to the bathroom. These symptoms actually took me to the ER.
What other side effects have happened as a result of this over the course of the last 5 years?
Yeah, I had trouble speaking. I had trouble swallowing. I had massive histamine issues. I had massive panic attacks. I had massive anxiety. I still have thyroid issues. 50% of my hair fell out, I would say. I have extensions, so it never grew back.
I ended up developing about 12 different symptoms that were all related to my vagus nerve being disrupted. I couldn't sleep for about 2 to 3 months unless I took heavy sleeping drugs. And I'm the kind of person who is usually in bed by 9 o'clock and asleep by 9:30. So I had severe dry mouth to the point where I couldn't swallow solid foods. I lost 20 pounds within a month. And of course, I'm running to the ER practically every other day. Once I was a couple weeks out from my injections. I actually work for this hospital system too, so these are my peers. And I'm saying, I got Botox, my life has not been the same, okay? I can't sleep, I can't swallow, my brain, I can't even think. At that point, I couldn't work. I was so fatigued, I could not care for my children. I would wake up at 7 o'clock, be back on the couch at 11 or 12, back down in bed. My husband had taken over all of the childcare duties, all of the everything, cooking, cleaning, everything. I was in bed for months, unless I was at the ER, of course.
And I couldn't breathe. And then when I couldn't breathe, the problem was that nobody would actually was believing me, but then my actual cords, like my voice cords, they got paralyzed and I couldn't speak. Like I had this horrible hoarse voice because I couldn't speak. So that's when they were like, okay, this is getting weird. Like she's not pretending to not being able to breathe. Like this is actually happening. It's not like something that it's a panic attack, because I continued to get like, oh, you're having a panic attack. That's why you feel like you can't breathe. And the reality is that I was getting paralyzed. So that meant that my diaphragm was getting paralyzed too, and I couldn't like properly take or inhale, so I couldn't inhale properly because my muscles were so super weak. So I was, not being able to breathe and feeling that I was just, gasping for air all the time, and it was horrifying,
What struck me as we sat down was that these were beautiful women. They were younger than I expected, and they each had their own striking features. I couldn't actually believe that they had seen themselves as people who were in need of these cosmetic interventions. As we sat and talked to them, I was struck by how powerful the voices had been that had lured them into this decision. Their heartbreak was palpable. As we sat at the table outside and heard them recall their own stories of tragedy and pain, I couldn't help but be moved by their altered lives. They would never be the same, and even though they had hope that one day they might recover, they understood that what their bodies had been subjected to had forever damaged their systems. Story after story of lost friendships, lost capacity for holding their children, online bullying, and endless dismissal of their concerns had left their spirits pretty defeated. One was a former runner, incapacitated and incapable of doing the sport they loved. One of them spoke of lost work and opportunities because of their flare-ups and sicknesses. Still another talked about being mentally lost for days and weeks at a time, unable to overcome their pain and mental struggles. As I heard them speak, I recognized the societal patterns of bullying that often accompany these types of situations. Criticisms from every side were levied at these women. There were people who shamed their stories by saying that their cases were rare and that they shouldn't be spreading such misinformation about a wonder drug. And from the other side of the spectrum, there were some who blamed them for making the choice at all. It's botulism, after all. Why would you do this to yourself? No one's going to feel sorry for you. I asked each of them about these criticisms. Talk to me a little bit about the beauty aspect of this. Why were you compelled, and why was this the solution for you?
I love social media, so I always am on like TikTok and Instagram and stuff, and I think that played a huge influence on why I was influenced to pursue Botox in the first place. I would say that like, before this happened, I wasn't like, oh, I'm tox free, but I was overall like a healthy individual. I ate healthy. I feel like I used decently healthy products. I was like an average person, I guess, but I think doing the toxin, I don't think I would have like chosen to do it really on my own if it wasn't so prevalent in our society. It's everywhere on social media, and they make it seem like it's so easy, like you're going to get your hair done, your nails done, let's go get your tox. And like you have influencers who do their like run errands with me, and their errand is going to get their tox injections, and it's so glamorized and so normal in our society, and everyone's doing it. You know, I have family members who have done it. I have cousins who have done it. I have friends, my best friend has done it. And it's just everywhere around us. And I was at this age where I did feel like I was looking in the mirror and I could see wrinkles coming on. I could see myself aging. And in a way, I was looking for like a quick fix.
Tell me what motivated you to get cosmetic injections or Botox, and what part of the kind of cultural influence caused you to go in that direction?
Well, I think that, you know, this stuff has been normalized in our culture. It's everywhere. I actually didn't have social media up until a couple years ago, and I decided that I was going to grow out my gray hair. And I started an Instagram account to document, you know, how my hair was growing. And I just remember at the time starting to see all these perfect faces on my phone, you know, through the screen. And I thought, well, my face doesn't look like that, and maybe it could. And, you know, at the time I had actually been seeing a doctor for microneedling, which is a procedure that is supposed to kind of boost your own collagen. It's like a facial that they do with needles. And I really trusted this doctor. I had been seeing her, I had known her for 2 years. And I'd go to her every about 4 months for these facials. She had been administering it to patients for years, and it was a big part of her aesthetic practice. And, you know, her skin was perfect. You know, you start to become normalized to these faces that don't move, and this skin that at 40 years old doesn't have a single wrinkle. I mean, this never happened before in history, right? This is very much a product of our times. But I just remember, you know, just feeling that pressure. Absolutely, there is a societal pressure to look young as a woman, to be attractive. And I just remember, you know, doing some cursory research, and everything I was reading was saying, like, of course there's no side effects, or the side effects are very minimal. You're gonna experience maybe some bruising, maybe a headache for a few days. But beyond that, of course you can't get injured by these injections, by Botox injections. And, you know, so I had just become kind of normalized to it. And I just thought it was what everyone did.
What motivated you to get the injections in the first place?
Well, I guess just I was getting older. I was turning 40. I was getting close to 40 years old. So that's when I started feeling the pressure of just, you know, continue to feel young and look younger. So that's what I just went for, the pressure, you know, to continue feeling young.
So I know this is a big part of like beauty culture and things, but what motivated you to go do this? I mean, you said you had some lines, but like,
yeah,
what was going on in your mind?
I guess I kind of have like a perfectionist type personality, and I think being a jewelry designer for like 10 years before that, and like when you're a jewelry designer, when you like polish metal, you get out every single scratch. Like, I don't know there's something in me that like always wants to make everything kind of perfect looking like that. And so that was my motivation. And then also I was just like socially impacted by it. Like my mom got Botox, my aunt, my grandma, all my friends were starting to do it. It was just like a social
And what are they saying in that moment of social stuff? Like, oh, it's awesome because,
Yeah,
or what?
that they love it because they look 5-10 years younger. And you know what, when I got it, I did look 5 years younger. It was kind of crazy. I mean, it really does work well in that regard, but the cost of it is, I mean, it's the biggest regret of my life. I will never ever do it. And I shout the precautions to the rooftop to anyone who talks about it. If anyone mentions Botox, I always am like, do not do that.
What role do you think marketing plays in this like beauty culture and like your allure to go do it? Were you influenced by marketing at all? Were besides the pressure of your friends or social media or any of those kinds of things?
I mean, at the time I was not really seeing it on social media as much. I was more like socially impacted. But nowadays, and everyone's an influencer, and it's all over TikTok, it's all over Instagram, and I could see now women are way more likely to be influenced to do it, like in today's day and age than even 5 years ago.
And for those who criticize the women for electing to be injected with the neurotoxin, Meg had the best answer.
I say, there's a certain amount of truth to that. Absolutely, it was elective. And I did feel like I had done a good amount of research. What people have to understand is the research we do, Google, that's all biased. The first couple dozen websites that come up are usually plastic surgeon websites talking about these side effects. Oh, very minimal, very transient, right? You have to dig to find stories like mine. You have to dig to find a full list of possible side effects. This is not something that you're gonna see on the Botox commercial. It's not something that you're gonna see on just an initial Google search. So, on the one hand, absolutely, it was elective. I'm not trying to shift the blame away from myself. That's not my intention, actually, in bringing awareness to this topic and telling my story. My goal is not that people feel sorry for me. It's that every single person on this planet knows and understands the risks of these drugs so that they can make a more informed decision than I did.
You mentioned your daughter and your husband. Tell me what they had to go through in this process.
Was really difficult because I was like, why do I feel like I needed to change my face? Like I would never want that for my daughter. So why do I think that I need to do that? And so it kind of like self-reflected on myself and like what the standard of beauty is. And like it was really, really, really changed because I think like we think of beauty as like the physical standard. And of course, like I care what I look like. Of course, I think everyone does to some degree. But I think really like my vision of beauty now is like being able to pick up my daughter, like, having the strength to pick up, like that's beauty. That's beauty in life.
You can't greenwash it. You can't say, oh, it's a beauty spa and we'll also do a little bit of Botox here and some microneedling there. No, you need to make it very clear to your patients that this is a medication. It's a prescription medication that comes with a black box warning. That is the strictest, strongest warning from the FDA because you absolutely can die from Botox. More, even as important is that you can be permanently damaged by this drug. And there are accounts of permanent damage from cosmetic doses of Botox.
So my family was my greatest support, actually. Without them, I don't know if I could have been able to survive because I have 3 kids and a very supportive husband. So he has been my rock, actually. My children were also very supportive, but they were really scared. They really thought that I was gonna die because I was pretty sick. Like, it was intense. I believe, honestly, that for all these 5 years that I was getting the toxin, I was just getting more poison until it was like too late. It was already bad, So my family was my husband was also heartbroken after this because, what we expected maybe from the medical field was not actually to help out because there was nothing else to do, right? But maybe learn from it so that others wouldn't go through it. You know, like you have to learn what's happening to these patients so that eventually we don't let this happen again.
Like a huge milestone for me was being able to pick up a Stanley, Stanley water bottles are so heavy. I was able to pick up one of those, and that was like a huge milestone. And so I'm getting there, I'm getting better. I am hopeful that I will eventually be 100. My doctor says we're gonna get you better than 100%. And I was like, please. But I think, I'm not even sure if I ever will be. Physically, I hope I can, but mentally, this has changed my life forever. And I really look at everything differently, look at beauty differently. I look at my daughter. She was 2 at the time when I first got sick, and she's now 4.5. I've been sick over half of her life, which is like really, really crazy to me that like this disease affects not just the person going through it, but everyone around. Like my husband has been a huge supporter, and like without him and my daughter, like I would not be here.
That's a long journey. 5 years is incredibly long. It has to be exhausting.
Yeah, it's my whole life. It still is my whole life.
And do you ever feel like you'll recover?
I have hope that I will fully recover. I don't know if I will. It makes me so sad to just feel like I can never be the same, potentially, ever again.
The incentives to preserve the status quo in this industry are massive. The cosmetic injections industry in the United States was valued at approximately $2.91 billion in 2024. The U.S. cosmetic injections market was also projected to reach around $3.16 billion in 2025 and $3.44 billion in 2026. That's nearly a 12% growth rate each year. The demands are huge, and the profits have become too large to ignore for the pharmaceutical companies. The margins on this treatment are staggering. Gross margins on the drug are nearly 85%, and after operating costs, most pharmaceutical companies are suspected to retain nearly 40% of that profit. For the spas and clinics, the numbers are even better. The average net profit margins for med spas range between 20 and 25%, with top performers in the industry reaching up to 40%. Cosmetic toxins and other injectables are often highlighted as key drivers of profitability due to repeat business and minimal supply costs. For specialized clinics, the margins are even better, typically ranging from 40 to 60%, with monthly revenues of $60,000 to $80,000. And at a 60% margin, the yields are $36,000 to $48,000 in monthly profits. It's easy to see why clinics and pharmaceutical companies are less than overt about the possibility of side effects. Doing so might mean a significant change to their revenue. But people need to understand the real risks of using these cosmetic injections. The statistics are troubling. In 2025, there were 3,096 serious adverse events reported in the FDA Adverse Event Reporting System for the botulinum toxin brands. That doesn't necessarily sound like a lot, given the millions of people using Botox. But the government estimates that only 2 to 10% of people actually report an injury. So if one extrapolates the data from those reported numbers, the real number of serious adverse events, which includes death, likely averages closer to 100,000 people. It's also estimated that nearly 10 million injections are done in the USA per year. That means there's a possibility of a 1% rate of reactions to the injection. That may seem statistically insignificant, but that also means that 1 in 100 people who do Botox are likely to get botulism. For the women I spoke to, that statistic has changed their lives, and the likelihood is there are hundreds of thousands of others who have been on the dark side of beauty. The stories that these women told me about their experiences and injuries were real. They had no incentive to make up what had happened to them. The more they were dismissed, the more isolated they felt. They were cast out on an island, even though it was their lives that had been altered. Our culture is a difficult one to navigate, and for young women, it is particularly harsh. They feel strange pressures to be different than how they've been created, and the insatiable drive it places on them nearly forces them into high-pressure decisions that can seem irrational to many of us. There is a lot to take away from the stories of the women I met, But the most significant is that every human is made with a divine imprint, and that our desires to alter or change our appearances to comply with a false cultural reality can be crushing. I want people to know about the risks of cosmetic injections. Like many things in our world, the quick fixes and miracle drugs come with inherent risks. People need to understand what it is they are choosing to put in their bodies. I don't begrudge clinics for making money on the high-profit products, but the people who walk into these clinics need to be fully informed that there are real risks and real complications that can come with using these miracle drugs.
Women have been trying to look and feel beautiful and younger since ancient times. I mean, this is nothing new. It's just now with science, we have this super easy tool to make that happen for us with the snap of a finger. And for the unlucky few, you know, there's a huge price for that.
I would love to send a message to the young women who are hearing each day online that they are not beautiful or need to be different than the image they see in the mirror. Stop. You are enough. There isn't a single person online who is peddling these pharmaceutical solutions who has your interests in mind. We are designed to age, to bear the marks of childbirth and hard work, to hold the sunshine we've stood in within the wrinkles on our faces. You are more incredible than you believe. Every line, every place that the magazines Photoshop off that you still have makes you unique and amazing. Celebrate that. Celebrate that you are embossed with a divine fingerprint. Turn down the noise and the pressures and turn off your phones. Walk outside, feel the sunshine, listen to the wind and embrace your beauty. Smile at your loved ones. Discard the voices of inadequacy. Beauty doesn't have to have a dark side. Your beauty comes naturally. Embrace it. You are wonderfully made.